So I was looking for this dude today, and I knock on the door, and I'm not even sure I'm anywhere near the right place. It just looks like it's supposed to be the right place. Grown-ass man comes to the door in his underwear. Not, and by the way, not an old man, not like sweet old grandpa that doesn't know any better. This dude can't be a day older than I am.
That's a little creepy.
And doesn't say a word. Like I
Maybe
had
he thought you were the census taker. Maybe he was trying to.
that should have been last. Well, the
I
census
know. I'm kidding.
he tested the census taker with Chianti and fava beans.
Yeah, I was gonna say he put the lotion on.
It puts a lotion on the skin moment because I was like, I am for sure not going in this house. I didn't know
Do
if I was
not
at the
drink
right
his
house or not. It may
Kool-Aid.
not have been. I don't know. But point is, the dude wasn't saying much. So I said, okay, well, I'll try back next time or whatever. I made something and I got the hell out of there. So
Might have been smart.
yeah.
There's a lot of serial killers that come out of the Michigan area, so
Well, there's
not
not
quite
only
Indiana levels. Indiana still tops
are they
in the
pretty
true
much
crime world, but Michigan's up there.
well, it was dangerously close to a body of water, which everything here is. I mean, so
See?
I'm like, yeah, I'm way too close to a major body of water. This
Well,
guy's
those bodies of water are cold enough year round that do you know how many bodies are like bodies are in those bodies of water that are
so
never found?
I'm told by a source of mine in DC that when the Potomac River warms up in the spring and summertime, a lot of bodies float up that either jumped or were put in there during the
I'm
winter
sure.
because
Yeah.
the water has to reach a certain temperature for
For
them to
stuff to
float.
rise. Yeah.
Right.
But the water in those lakes in Michigan never gets cold enough. So it's like a known fact that never gets warm enough that those bodies are always going to be there.
I
And
believe
if it's
that.
an accidental, I think I read somewhere that if it's an accidental drowning, like if
Mhm.
they know, they don't even search for him in those lakes.
I believe that because I think Michigan at its deepest, I don't think it's quite 1,000 feet. It's like in the tall 800s, but
Yeah.
Superior is over 1,000 feet deep. So
That's like an ocean.
yeah. Oh yeah, they're huge. So it's like unless they know exactly where you are, I can imagine. Yeah, that's probably true because it would take a serious submersible to get down there to you. A regular guy in a scuba suit ain't making it.
So probably good you didn't go in that house.
Damn right. And if I do have to go if I do have to go back in there later, or if it does turn out that it actually was the right
Let
place,
somebody know.
I'm gonna yeah, huh.
Let somebody know. Hey
Hey
y'all,
y'all,
I'm Robyn.
and I'm Ryan, and
And
we're not normally talking about serial killers on this level, but
are you kidding? I listen to crime podcasts every day.
you do.
Every
You
day. I'm actually running out of crimes.
really?
Sometimes they're overlapping, and I'm like, I heard that on Crime Junkie. I don't want to listen to that on.
Well,
Yeah.
there's the one that you and I were listening to for a long time. I think he added another episode the other day.
Yeah, he got too
He
repetitive.
did.
Yeah, so I quit listening to him.
Admittedly, he repeated himself a
It was
lot.
a fascinating story. Fascinating story.
It
A
is,
lot of information, but
yes,
yeah, no.
it is a lot of, for those that don't know, for those listening along, we're talking about true crime reporter, talking about the serial killer, Kenneth McDuff, who is probably one of the lesser known but most prolific serial killers in Texas history. I
I
say
don't think
lesser
he was
known.
lesser known. I think most
Well,
people know
it
who he
kind of
was.
depends because I honestly had forgotten about him, and because he's not like the John Wayne Gacy or the Jeffrey
Okay, as a
Dahmer.
woman who grew up in Texas, he's
Yeah.
the reason that I am leery of car washes.
Okay.
No joke.
But I mean,
Like
he's
I
not
think a lot of
nationally
people.
famous. Like,
Oh, I think he is, but regardless, that podcast was about him, but it was also an indictment of the Texas system.
very
So
much so.
yeah,
And
it was
they needed
interesting.
it. They needed it. But
So what's new in your world? What's going on?
well, as today with most every other day, I was driving around and had the radio going and heard a lot about the shooting in Atlanta
Atlanta
and all of
area.
that.
Yeah.
So
Bulkhead.
different takes on that, but it kind of depends on what perspective you're going from. The cops have come out as of the last time they had a conference, a press conference at like 3 or 4 p.m. Seemed like, and we're saying that it most likely had to do with his sexual addiction and had to do with
Because that's a good excuse to murder 8 people.
him frequenting. Supposedly he shot up 2 of these places and was on his way to like
Florida
more.
to, yeah.
And then it came out that he did go to some rehab place for a sexual addiction thing, but he would leave and go to massage parlors. Like, this is according to his roommate. So I guess his roommate at the sexual addiction place. So I don't know. Bad deal all the way around.
I think that's a piss poor excuse. And the press conference they had yesterday where the sheriff said he'd had a bad day.
He has apologized for that. The sheriff did apologize.
I was busy today, so I didn't see. I'm glad he apologized because we all have bad days and we don't go shoot innocent people.
Well, I found the apology when I was researching this because I came in and then we needed to do this, and then I jumped online and I was looking through, and the sheriff came out and basically it was a bad choice of words. While it may have been, yes, it was a bad day. It was
it wasn't a bad day. It was a
bad
slaughter.
Way to say it. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad day. It was a slaughter. And if you have an addiction, you don't go out and slaughter people.
Oh no.
For your own poor choices.
There was there are ways to deal with it other than that.
That's the biggest understatement I think you could make.
Well, I mean, it's I don't know. I've been through some recovery and done some counseling and some.
And did you go out and kill 8 people if you fell?
I never knew. That's the thing. I don't know anybody that I ever came across that I would consider homicidal. So this guy probably has just got some pretty deep, serious issues. Of course, you never know what somebody's really thinking. You never know if somebody's just right there on the ragged edge or something anyway. So,
well, I'd say more than probably. He's got issues. He slaughtered 8 people. Yep. 8 innocent people. And even if they were sex workers, which I don't think they've come out and said that they were, even if they were, they did not deserve to be gunned down.
Correct.
And so that's a pretty piss poor excuse. I hope they throw the book at him. Well, and I know that a lot of people are seizing on it to talk about the violence against Asian people, and there has been an increase in violence against Asian people. Mm-hmm. It's verifiable. This may not have been a hate crime. He may just be saying this, like all the facts aren't in yet. And I don't know if you trust the word of somebody who killed 8 people, but it does bring to light that there has been a huge increase in violent crimes against Asian people.
That's true. There's also been an increase in violent crimes in general in the last year, though. So that has come up. It is unfortunate and it is bad and they are hate crimes, but it's not what I heard today. The statistics and the numbers from the Department of Justice and the San Francisco PD and places of that nature that keep the statistics on these things, it doesn't gel with what I heard all day long today on like NPR and broadcast radio and all that. So
what did you hear?
Violent crime is up against Asians. That's true. Violent crime is up against everyone else too. That it was white supremacists and that it was all these white guys attacking all that, and that doesn't bear up under the Bureau of Justice statistics nor the San Francisco PD that keeps statistics, that keeps records on this stuff. So, in fact, there was one guy that attacked an Asian woman today in San Francisco, and she beat. I don't know if you saw this. I saw a clip on it on YouTube. It just so happened she had some kind of a stick in her hand, and she put that dude on a stretcher. She beat the shit out of that dude. Now he got her pretty good too, but she laid him out. They took him out. She was walking under her own power. He was on a stretcher.
Good.
Yeah, good for her. But the national statistics do not support any kind of white supremacy or any of that other business.
I don't think the words white supremacy have been
I heard it all day today. I heard it all day today on the radio as I was driving.
I don't know what you listen to.
NPR. I told you there's like 4 NPR stations where I can pick up, like from here to the lake where I drive to, and it's all.
I just don't hear the words white supremacy. Like when you say those words, I hear those with different things. I don't hear those with this. And I've been looking at NPR. I've been looking at New York Times, Washington Post.
Supremacy, in my brain, go to what I have been around actual white supremacists in a former job. And this is not what that was. So I heard that no less than 3 times a day. One time specifically when I was pulled over on the side of the road writing something down in my notes. So not these notes, my work notes.
Interesting.
Yes, I have to office out of my truck quite a bit. So I use church parking lots and convenience store parking lots and things like that to pull over and take notes and write stuff down and listen to the radio. So there I was.
I will have to pay more attention to NPR because we must be listening to different ones. I don't know.
I think there is a narrative that they want it to be that.
I think there's also a narrative being put out there by Nicole Barber and Candace Owens and several other people that this is the desire for a narrative against. And so I think you've got two competing narratives. And the day that we start quoting Candace Owens or Nicole Barber for facts is the day that we need to actually start researching.
Well, I wasn't quoting either one of those two people. In fact, I don't even know who Nicole Barber is. I knew who Candace Owens.
You're the one who showed me her.
Nicole Barber?
Yes.
Oh, Nicole Arbor.
Barber, whatever.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. Those
because they've been putting stuff out all day about this as a mainstream media narrative that's not true and this is false.
I don't necessarily disagree that it is a narrative because they need something in this post-Trump era. Ratings are down across the board for news, all news media outlets all across the board. They need something to get people pissed off. Both sides, liberal and conservative, need something to get people pissed off about, which goes back to what you and I have talked about.
Wait, ratings are down?
Fox, CNN and all of them, yes. So Fox News and CNN and all of them need something, whatever it is, to get people pissed off. So
how do they even do ratings now? Like, is that a
do what?
How do they even do ratings? Like, how do you
honestly
quantify that? Because I haven't heard that either.
So I don't know, but yes, viewership of the mainstream media sources like your CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all that are down a lot. Because it's only happened in the last couple of months. Trump is gone, so there's not a daily tweet or a daily whatever to keep people
daily. There's usually more than 70.
You know what year.
I'm saying? Literally, I think he was tweeting an average of 70 a day.
So
I had not heard that. That's interesting.
Yes, viewership is down. So the way to correct that is get people pissed back off again. I think it's a cult of personality type. Well, let me say it a different way. It is a lack of a current cult of personality going on in the White House. There's not, I mean, I'm not slamming Biden here, but he's just not as dynamic as the previous two presidents. So
I'm going to say, I think we could do with a little less dynamite.
I'm not disagreeing.
Politics.
I'm just saying he's not as.
He doesn't tweet 70 times a day.
Well, he doesn't have the crease in his pants that give people the tingle in their leg. So I'm just.
We don't ever have to talk about Trump's pants again, if that's what
that
you're
wasn't
referring
Trump I was talking about. That was Obama's.
I was scared you were talking about Trump.
I was quoting Chris, what's his name, who said that. Anyway, there's not a current cult of personality, for lack of a better term, that's got the media all up in an uproar. You know, we don't have the first black president now, and we don't have Trump. We just got Biden. He's not that exciting, so we're going to gin up something to keep people going on about. So, really, that's all.
Speaking of,
what?
I've actually thought it was pretty entertaining the last couple of weeks. This idea that libs are canceling everything, that we're canceling Dr. Seuss, that we're canceling Pepe Le Pew, we're canceling the Muppets, that we're canceling, it goes on and on and on. And half the time I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, I've never even heard of this. And I'm part of the ones that are supposed to be canceling it. And when you look a little deeper, nobody's canceling anything. Like, private corporations are making changes. Like, they didn't take away Mr. Potato Head. They're starting to just have a potato with different pieces that are male and female, which is actually, if you're a parent, more cost effective. Seriously, so you don't have to buy 2 potatoes. You can just buy 1.
Yeah, but the whole point of the scene in Toy Story was when Mr. Potato Head had his fingers crossed for a Mrs. Potato Head. Did you see that? You know what I'm
Okay,
talking
well
about?
then you buy 2 potatoes if you're into that, if that's your
That was
thing.
a hilarious scene. He's got his fingers crossed, and the kids. And what's his? Andy's downstairs opening presents, and Mr. Potato Head has his fingers crossed, going, "Mrs. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato
Oh,
Head."
that was such a cute show. But so that was literally a business decision by Hasbro.
Yeah.
And the Dr. Seuss thing we talked about last week or the week before, like that was
Uh-huh.
by the Dr. Seuss Foundation,
Right.
not by liberals, not by Biden. I've seen memes where Biden is canceling it. I'm like, Biden's not
No, that's not
canceling your
true.
Dr. Seuss. And then the Muppets, Disney Plus put a little disclaimer at the beginning of like half a dozen Muppet shows, and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't take them off the air. They literally just put something across the bottom that said something to the effect of they merit discussion because they had some, I guess, insensitive tropes. I don't know because I
As the
don't pay
one that I
for.
heard the most about was on the old Muppet Show. Johnny Cash sang a song in
Oh,
front
with
of
the
a
Confederate
Confederate
flag,
flag.
but
Yeah.
they didn't take it off. They said it
Right.
merited discussion, which I don't
Beyond.
think
Go ahead.
is a bad thing.
Yeah. Beyond that one, I don't know of any other. I don't know why any of the other one would have been up for discussion. That's the only one I heard about. So,
Yeah. I think they said
um,
that it was like half a dozen, but there's so many examples of things like that. And like Pepe Le Pew, again, that was Warner Brothers deciding that he didn't fit their narrative for their new Space Jam 18 or whatever it is. But there's
admittedly,
all these things that people are so outraged by.
right.
And I'm like, seriously, like do the homework. There's not anything to be outraged by because Hasbro has made more money since the Mr. Potato Head thing came out
Mhm.
than they were making before. Like they actually have made more money off their potatoes than they were before. Same thing with what's it called? Dr.
Dr.
Seuss.
Seuss.
Yeah. And the funny thing was it was his crappy books that nobody probably owned anyway. So it wasn't like it was
Yeah,
Horton
they
Hears a
weren't his
Who
better
or
known ones.
yeah. So it was kind of
Agreed
funny that
on
it was
that. Agreed on that. However, I will say that in the last month or so, I have noticed a pretty serious uptick in like Bill Maher has said a lot about cancel culture, and so has Sarah Silverman. Um, and it's been a lot of stand-up comedians that I've heard, your Jerry Seinfelds and people like that talk about.
comedians are in a different place because they have to be so careful with what they say. And I get that. That's different than the memes that the people we grew up with are slinging back and forth every day about that everything they love has been canceled. But yeah, comedians have it rough because they used to be able to make fun of everything. And now pretty much the
Right.
only thing they can make fun of in a safe space is Trump. So I get that Sarah Silverman and Bill Maher would have issues with that.
So
That's not cancel
perhaps
culture so much as
we should all take a step back. I think you and I could probably agree on this. Like you and I talked about certain celebrities, I think, in the past that have been canceled for one reason or another. And honestly, you've got to. I've always said this. It's why I like, for instance, Bruce Springsteen and I are on opposite sides of the spectrum politically, but I still listen to Bruce Springsteen. I don't turn him off when he's on because he's an awesome musician. John Mellencamp, same way. Willie Nelson, same way.
I don't think
So,
celebrities get canceled by and large though, unless you're Bill
oh,
Cosby and you've been
oh, well,
convicted
yeah,
of
but
rape.
with some of them haven't. It seems like in the last several years. Now, admittedly, some of
I
them
can't
were a
think
little.
of any.
What's his name?
I can
Of
only
course,
think of literal like Harvey
House
Weinstein,
of Cards
whatever.
dude, Kevin Spacey. Supposedly, he was getting a little handsy. That's just whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But it just seems like, well, I guess what I'm getting at is I don't buy into too many boycotts or canceling people because of whatever. So I
Kevin
just,
Spacey though, it was underage boys,
yeah, that's a little
right?
bit different.
So
that's
yeah, that's different than a
that's a little
potato
different.
head.
Can't can't
Um,
can't be can't be getting handsy with the underage people.
yeah.
Um,
So that's to me, that's not cancel culture. That's consequences for your actions.
but it just seems like people get too up in arms about, oh, we're going to cancel this or we're going to boycott that. And if quite frankly, if the cancel culture is coming from the left, then boycott culture is coming from the right quite a bit. Because I've heard it a lot just growing up.
Freedom
We're going to
fries.
boycott Disney, or we're going to boycott Coca-Cola, or we're going to boycott this, we're going to boycott that. Well, I
Actually,
mean,
the Coca-Cola thing I thought was super funny because it was right at the same time that there was so much uproar about.
honestly, I don't even remember what the Coca-Cola thing was about now.
something about some training on their LinkedIn Learning, which has
Oh, that's right.
thousands
That's
of,
right. That's
yeah.
right. That'd be less white.
But
Yeah.
everybody's like, boycott Coke, drink Pepsi. And I'm like, but yet you are defending Pepe Le Pew.
Pepsi's
And
nasty.
it was the height of irony to me. Like, you can't complain about cancel culture while canceling people. So,
Right.
and I would say that it's also a ploy to get us to look at that versus real news. Like, if we're up in arms over Pepe Le Pew or the Potato Head, then we're not paying attention to the stuff that matters. So that's just my thought on it.
Agreed.
And I'm all for Sarah Silverman and all the comedians being off color and offensive.
I don't know a lot about her. I mean, I know she is and stuff, but I don't know. Is she a stand-up comedian?
Oh, she's got several specials. Yeah.
I would need to get caught up on some of that.
She had a Netflix show for a while. I can't remember what it was called. It was actually really cool. She went places. I don't know. She met people across America that she kind of had prejudgments about and got to know them. She came together with people. So it was actually a really interesting show.
I will have to check that out because not as hip and cool on that as I probably should be.
Please don't ever say hip again.
And cool?
If your children were listening, they would be like, what?
What? Let me tell you something. They don't know, they don't use the word hip anymore.
I'm pretty sure only if they're talking about what's going to go out on grandma. Like,
oh,
no.
Hey. Ouch.
No, they do not use the word. They do not use the word hip
slinging
anymore.
that out there like that. We don't need grandma's hip going out. What's Ryan talking about his hip?
Right?
So
vaccines. AstraZeneca is in a bit of hot water.
Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with that?
I have, actually. That was on the news today too. From what I understand, and there's supposed, now I'm not a scientist, not a doctor, obviously. This is what I understand from the reports. Blood clots were happening in, and don't quote me on the country, Belgium, maybe?
There were a couple of European countries. I know Germany was one.
Right.
They had, though, less than 16 cases per million people. Right. I think they've had 70 cases with like 16 million people vaccinated. So
I think they just came out. I think the EU medical board or whatever they have over there just came out like today. Like as I was driving today, and I heard that they said this is an acceptable amount, whatever the acceptable amount of side effects is for a given for a prescription vaccine. This doesn't meet that. I mean, this meets their threshold. So
to give you an idea, if it's 16 people per million,
okay,
then the birth control pill, 1,100 women per million will suffer fatal blood clots.
Oh, okay, fatal blood clots. Okay, all right.
So, but seriously, 1,100 women per million will die from blood clots.
Okay. I could deal with fatal birth control pills and not accidental babies.
Well, no, but I'm not kidding. I'm actually being serious. Like, okay, look at how much lower it is. Correct. And we still give out the birth control pill like candy.
I agree.
But it's much higher risk than this vaccine. So it's not that they don't need to be keeping track of these things. That's exactly what they need to be doing in case there is an uptick or a change. But I'd take the AstraZeneca vaccine. And actually, we have a stockpile. We're not using it in the United States, but we have several million doses of
I saw a headline today said that they're sending some of those to Mexico and Canada.
Okay, because even like 2 days ago, we were getting in hot water with some of our neighbors and allies because we weren't sharing, but we weren't using the vaccines. And so they were actually getting pretty upset with us. So that's interesting.
Someone I know that volunteers in Brazos County, Texas, shot a message out today that anybody needing or wanting the shot could come by now because they had more shots than they had people coming in or appointments for people to come in. So it was like, let me know, whatever. So some of this, and I'll tell you something about me later off the air. I don't want to talk about it on air, but just saying that some of the AstraZeneca that from the headline that I saw, getting ready for this, we're going to be sending some of it to Canada and Mexico. So
Good. I'm glad if we're not using them, we're sending them. So, but I would take it. To me, that's an acceptable risk. It's sad for the people. And actually, I think of the 16 or so people per million, I think they've only had like 3 deaths.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's still a good number, and you still don't want that to happen to anybody.
Well, no, but if you're talking about 16 million people and 3 people dying, you probably got 3 people dying from stuff falling out of the air at that point. So
yeah, it's a pretty statistically low number, and not all that. It's not enough to cancel the whole thing over.
No, so I hope they continue to use it. Just be aware.
Be aware. Ask for the Pfizer shot. I mean, that's just me.
Which one's the one shot?
I was trying to think of that earlier.
Was it Moderna?
I think that's right.
Okay.
I think there's Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Moderna. I think the Moderna is a one-shot one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get to. I don't think we get to ask for which one. I think you get what you get.
They have whatever's on hand, and whatever your county.
It's like kindergarten. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Don't throw a fit. Today's snack is an apple, kids, not the cookie that you want. Okay.
Yes, and you get that shot. So.
And the cookies we always got when we were kids, always the hard hydroxy kind anyway, that were like,
hey, don't be digging on those.
No milk in the world could melt them down. The
vanilla ones?
No milk would penetrate them whatsoever. They never got softer, ever.
I like those.
You could use them for clay pigeons. So what else you talking about?
Oh, I lost a friend to Q the other day.
Oh, yeah, about that.
It kind of feels like a death, but like an absurd death, because we've been friends for years and years, and I saw her going down the Q path. But honestly, like the last time I saw her, she literally was like, we have to save the children. And what about Hillary's emails? And I was like, wait, what? Like, it's 2021. What? Yeah, she literally told me that she didn't want to talk to or associate with liberals.
At all, ever?
No, she wanted nothing to do with liberals, which part of me...
Is this person in Colorado?
Yes. Yes. And part of me like wanted to argue, like, bitch, do you know why you get to vote? And do you know that those $3,000 in stimulus checks are coming from liberals? Because I know she's cashing them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's taken advantage of every government program that's ever been out there. And so I was just like, well, what do you mean you don't want to associate with liberals? Because you've been living off liberals for years. But I may have called her a snowflake, told her facts didn't care about her feelings.
Uh-oh. Careful.
So I know, but I really, because I even told her, I was like, don't you care about facts?
That conservatives use.
Well, exactly. But I told her, I was like, don't you care about facts? And she was like, no, I don't care about facts. I don't want to associate with liberals. And so that's why I have to say that facts don't care about your feelings, because I was like, good grief, man. But it made me realize, like, it's literally a cult. They really don't care about facts. Like the fact that I keep using the word fact, like I just learned it. The fact that she told me that she didn't care about it, like she is willingly going.
Yeah, it's not like you're assuming she doesn't care about facts. She came out and said the words, I don't care about facts.
No. And it's interesting to me because when she would post on social media, she would post, let's say, 19 posts calling for hanging of liberals and
Jesus.
I mean, stuff that, I was concerned the FBI was going to be knocking on our door one day.
Even I don't say that.
But literally, like, violence, like, we have to kill these people, basically. And then on Sunday, she would post a Bible verse and talk about love and unity. And I was just like, I don't understand Q. Like, it's the strangest cult I've ever heard of.
Right.
And actually, I didn't get a chance to read it, but there's something out there. They're saying that they have actually found who Q is, and now Q is a movement, but they're saying that they think they have found out who Q is. And I'm so curious if it's a guy in his mom's basement.
What is the uncaused first cause of this? Where is the guy? Is it
a guy in his mom's basement? Is it Russian intelligence? Like, what? started this craziness.
So you're saying
And I feel bad.
They think they've tracked somebody down?
Yeah, I need to find the article. It just came out today that that they think they will be able to prove who Q is, unmask them. Haha, get it? Because Q hates masks.
I mean,
I mean, everybody hates masks, but
you're right. That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I was sad and mad all at the same time to lose this friendship of so many years with someone who has been such a wonderful person and just changed so drastically. But it made me feel really bad for people who've lost family members to Q. Like, I can't imagine what it must be like if you have a family member, like a parent or a child or a sibling, who has gone down this rabbit hole and knowing that you can't get them out.
Yeah, similar things have happened in other instances in walks of life and cults and belief systems, whatever else.
It goes beyond the divisiveness that's in our world right now, even with politics. I think it is much more like a literal cult. And honestly, it meets, I think, 8 of the 9 definitions of a cult. So, so yeah, that happened this week, and I was kind of sad, but and I was like,
I didn't think you'd have time to be sad with all the snow you had to shovel. So,
oh my God, I still haven't gotten my car out. I think I might get it out tomorrow. Cross my fingers. Yeah. Yep. So that has kept me busy.
That's cool.
That's what I got. I could talk your ear off all day about voting and filibusters and
not in favor of getting rid of the filibuster. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't think they're talking about getting rid of it. I think they're talking about converting it to, now they're calling it the talking filibuster. I think that's still what's on the table as reasonable.
Well,
Joe you don't get to just threaten.
Joe Manchin has come out against changing any of it, so it's probably not going to happen.
Just interesting.
Well, I mean, he's right, and he knows as soon as the next election happens or the whatever happens, and the Senate flips, and you got to be careful changing these rules, because it's happened before where we change the rules to fit us now, and then the election cycle comes around, and all of a sudden they're biting us in the butt.
I think this should actually be a bipartisan thing. I don't think that bringing back the requirement to talk should be a partisan thing. I think they should all be on board, because right now they can literally say, you better do what I want or I'm going to filibuster, and that is it. Well, I mean, make them filibuster, make them talk.
It is the Dick Durbin wing of the Democrat Party that's pushing for this, and anything he's for, I'm against. So,
it's not the Dick Durbin wing. It's 48 of the Democrats.
It's led by Dick Durbin. So, I'm not a Dickie Durbin fan. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But I understand people want to change things. People want to do other stuff, whatever.
It's not constitutional. It's Senate rules and regulations. They change them all the time. So
I know. And that's why Manchin remembers the whole Harry Reid changing all the rules, and he knows better. He's not reacting to what's in the political wind right now. I think he's actually being the adult in the room. So he's acting like a grown up here. So he has come out and said that he's not going to support it. So I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
No, it won't happen if he won't support it. But he's also flip-flopped a couple of times. So we'll see, because last week he was actually in support of, or willing to consider, changing it to a talking filibuster. So if he's come out this week and said something different, then you got to see where he lands.
Yeah, we'll see. Dianne Feinstein of California has filed another one of her famous gun control bills that she's trying to get done. So I'm anxiously awaiting to see what happens with that. What new, how we're going to save the children crime bill we're going to do this time. So
you say that like saving the children is a bad thing.
There are already 20,000 gun control laws on the books in the nation. If gun control worked, Chicago would be the safest town in America.
You are just full of your talking points tonight. I'm proud of you.
I mean, Well, I mean, honestly, prove me wrong. I'm not supposed to go to Chicago with a firearm. They don't recognize my firearm, right? Whatever. But it's the deadliest city in America. So, I mean, show me.
I thought New Orleans was now. I thought New
Well,
Orleans passed Chicago by.
As far as I know, Chicago's still the king. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest on that.
I thought I saw this summer that New Orleans had passed Chicago by to be
They
the
may.
deadliest city.
They may. Those two go back and forth. But my point is, if gun control worked, Chicago would be safe, and it's not. New York's the same way. I mean, New York's looking like they did in the 70s right now, and DC also the same way. Violent crime is up, and gun control. It's been shown time and time again. Every time they pass one of these bills, it doesn't do anything. So murder still happens, violent crime still happens. So we shall see. I don't think that one's going to get to the Senate either. It'll take 60 votes, and there's
never going to be gun control to get through the Senate. It's just a talking point to get people pissed off and give money to the NRA.
Mostly is now. It can be tried on local levels, but there are a lot of states that are doing their own thing on the local level anyway. Iowa passed a bill today or yesterday. I'd have to reread it again, but it was pretty favorable for gun rights, and some of the other states are following suit, doing the same thing. But
every time somebody tries to pass a gun control law, I think the NRA must just be wetting their pants.
Oh yeah, it's great.
The biggest fundraiser for them.
And I'm pretty much on record as saying the NRA is not always my favorite team to pull for. They have done some things I don't necessarily like and approve of, but
Dianne Feinstein talks, and you guys order ammunition.
They do, however, when they're not spending money on jets and suits for their vice president, fight for Second Amendment rights. So, despite them being labeled a terrorist organization. Ooh.
Like I said, you are full of your talking points.
I know, huh?
It's like you have all your Republican talking points written down in front of you.
No. The 20,000, I'm doing all this from memory. But there are over 20,000 gun control bills. That's federal, state, and local across the nation. So what's the use of having another one? And every time they come out and, we're going to save the children, and this is going to eliminate crime, and this is going to blah, 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 and it never does. It never does.
COVID did more to save the children with no school shootings for a solid year.
You know, that thought did cross my mind.
I'm sure it's crossed a lot of people. Like kids, it sucks for the kids that they have to wear masks and do online schools, but they don't have to do shooter drills and they're not getting killed. So
yeah, that is true. I just wish all this would have happened back when I was in, high school. I could have gotten out of all the trouble I got into. So, I mean, not trouble. I just hated being in school. So, didn't like it. Wasn't my thing. So you had mentioned the intelligence report. Were you talking about the one from the intelligence report? I don't know if it's the same one I'm thinking about. Were there warning against all the uprisings and all that business?
No, it came out yesterday. Trump actually called for it back in 2018. He wanted an intelligence report done on foreign meddling in the 2020 election. So it was funny because it was actually something Trump had called for, I think back in 2018, like even before they knew that Biden would be way before they knew that Biden would be the nominee. And it just came out yesterday, I think, or maybe it was Tuesday. And it's over 19 different intelligence agencies, or arms of the intelligence agency. And it came out and said that there was no foreign meddling with ballots or voting machines or any of the actual mechanics of the vote this year in 2020. But it did say that Russia and Iran were big players in misinformation campaigns and fake news.
Did they say anything about 2016?
No, this was specifically for 2020. This was not 2016. This was 2020.
because it was Hillary that was crowing about Russia in 2016.
Okay, if we could not bring up Hillary, like,
I'm just
seriously,
saying.
I'm talking about 2020.
I
Do you
get
want to
it.
talk about?
I get it, but he didn't stamp that coin. She did. So, just saying.
All right,
I
you got
agree.
your Hillary dig in. I don't give a fuck about Hillary.
It's highly unlikely that the Russians or the Iranians were able to flip any vote counts on any machines at the local level, state, local.
It's not highly unlikely. They did not.
Right. Here's the thing. I was saying, of course, you didn't know me that I was saying that same thing in 2016 when people were saying that the Russians could have hacked into the whatever. And I'm like, no, they couldn't have hacked into the counting machines on the county level. Those things are not on the internet. So if it was true then, it's true now. I agree. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't Russia or Iranian trying to interfere with their bot farms and all of that. Were they interfering with ballot counts? No. Were they trying to interfere with the election? I have no doubt. So
yeah. So they proved it. They have proof. Funny thing was, China did not. China made a logistic decision that they were going to be on the hot seat no matter who was in power. And so they literally just sat this one out as far as a state run campaign to undermine the election or sway people. Venezuela and Cuba wanted to, and the Palestinians, none of them had the ability to. So the big players were Russia and Iran.
I don't know. I don't doubt that at all. I don't know if the heat is on China enough, quite frankly, but just because of subjects you and I have talked about before. But I don't doubt that. I mean, and quite frankly, being honest, we've done it too, especially when the CIA was running hot and heavy in the 50s and 60s, and we were doing regime changes full time and whatever. We have interfered. We, the United States, have interfered with foreign elections before. Various presidents have, not naming names.
Color me shocked.
We've sent people over to either campaign for or, flip elections or re-election, whatever, in various countries all over the world. It was more prevalent in the Cold War, but it still happens. It has happened in Israel in the last 10, 15 years. But it's kind of interesting that the agencies came out. I had not heard that particular intel report.
It just came out. It was either yesterday or Tuesday, but it just came out, and it was
I not heard that.
Pretty broad consensus with facts to back it up. So
cool. There are a lot of intelligence agencies in this country now. You just think about the FBI and the CIA and NSA. I don't know.
No.
That's a lot of agencies.
Yeah, it was more than I knew we had. So that was interesting in and of itself. So
I think every branch of the service has one mostly, and then you've got your other ones down from that, I guess. So, but still, 16 is a lot. So I don't think we need that.
That is all I got. I think I am tapped out.
Think so?
Yeah, it's been a week.
It has been a week. Seems like this one's been. Of course, I'm getting busier in my job too, so I'm like running harder and doing more, putting more miles on the old truck and doing all that kind of stuff right now too. So, the old day job is pulling me away. So, anyway, I guess again, Robyn is correct
and Ryan is right.
Bye y'all.